Welcome to Trailblazers. Today, we're celebrating 60 years of India-Singapore bilateral ties. Joining me is Mr. Atul Temurnikar, a trailblazer in education, who will share insights on how our nation's partnership has driven growth, innovation, and knowledge sharing. Let's explore the trailblazing initiatives and success stories that have shaped our relationship over the past 6 decades.
India-Singapore 60 years of bilateral relationships. This year, as you know, Singapore is turning 60. Our little red dot has really punched above its weight. I would like to ask you, how long have you been in Singapore and what is your global international school story?
Thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be on this particular conversation. My journey with Singapore started about 34 years back, so almost more than 3 decades. In a way, what brought me to Singapore was the professional assignments and the charm of working in companies and corporations here. That gave me the initial start at Singapore. And I have seen Singapore's massive transformation in the past 34 years. When I came here, the CTE had just started.
Yeah.
The MRT had just been there for 1 year. And I think thereafter, what Singapore has undergone in terms of transformation, in terms of advancement, in terms of quality of life, in terms of richness of culture, has been an outstanding example for many countries to actually follow.
What brought you to the idea of creating a school?
Singapore has 35% expatriates who come from different countries. They include blue collar, white collar, and everyone. So I was one of them who came down here in '91. But what I soon realized was there were expatriates of different types, different demographics, different income segments, and the ones who could not afford the pricey international schools were the ones who were feeling the heat. Our system, as in Singapore system and Indian system, they all originate from the British education system because we were all part of Commonwealth.
Absolutely.
And what we realized is that language, culture, and strong science and maths education, if that can be provided in a manner in which not only people can accept but also can afford, and can also see that as a basis of springing to their next segment in life, which is in university education. Okay. I do remember I was at one of the bus parking areas in that location.
Yeah, it was a Hindi school. Those
yes.
days, the Hindi society would run schools for children.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think that was one of the most important transformations Singapore had, which is to allow introduction of a Hindi language school on a weekend.
Absolutely.
And I saw the amount of people who were committed to that.
Yes.
And that actually
including
was one
us.
of the ideas. Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was a matter of, why can't we have this configuration as part of a school?
True.
And therefore have some expat curriculums. No, I think the starting with one school in Singapore, very close to where Orchard Road is, I would say we had the right opportunity, we had the right people to help us out.
Yes.
And I think that one school led to a lot of word of mouth spread about the school and the values it was propagating. And I think that message went out loud and clear to our neighboring countries, including Malaysia, Thailand, and interestingly, and also Japan.
Yeah.
So we started getting a lot of requests from communities there. Hey guys, why don't you come to our country? We took that opportunity, we traveled around, I and my colleagues, and then we started setting up schools. The second one came up in Malaysia. The third
Which year was that?
2006.
2006, okay.
And the third one in the same year came up in Tokyo, in Japan. And that was very interesting as well. Then we launched our first school in India in 2011. And that allowed us to then start setting our sights onto the Middle East side. And so 2013, we set up our first school in the Middle East, in the United Arab Emirates. I think that it's a matter of organic growth.
Sure.
So you introduce a school, our Abu Dhabi school is almost like waitlisted for thousands of children.
Wow.
And we are now thinking about setting up a second campus for them. So this is how schools expand. And I think what we were very grateful was, and one of the reasons I just got late, because we work very closely with Enterprise Singapore.
Yes.
And they have been very kind and very courteous to help us take into new markets.
Yes.
They have helped us in Abu Dhabi, they have helped us in Saudi, they have helped us in many other locations. In terms of giving us that initial primer about what could be the opportunity, guys, come over and see us here, and let's explore the opportunity together. Maybe do some research, market research, and they're very kind to even pay for it. So we are glad to be with Enterprise Singapore since 2011, and we have been a choice partner for them. And they believe, and they actually then brought us into the most prestigious Scale Up SG program in 2018 for allowing us to transform and work with us to create a growth journey and a growth strategy.
Excellent.
To take it to the next decade. So we have been working with them, and our expansion today, so I can say that with great pride, we are present in South Korea, we are present in Japan in over six campuses.
Wonderful.
We are also present in a small way in Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, Philippines.
Total number of schools?
64.
64. And
Yes.
you are in 16 countries. Am
We
I
are
correct?
in 11 countries.
Yeah. So I'm predicting another few for you since I've.
Well, it's a very organic and it's
I see.
expected, right?
I
When
see.
you have a great demand and you can notice the opportunity, I think obviously it makes sense to us to expand and add more schools to it. But most importantly, we are highly selective about the places we want to be.
Sure.
We have chosen to be in those cities where you want to be, where expats want to be.
Sure.
The best places to work,
Yeah.
the most developed and advanced countries, at the same time promising countries. And I think all these locations, including UAE, Saudi, UK, are some of the most destination locations where expats and communities want to be.
What do you think Singapore and India can do in education sector in next 60 years?
Yes, I think the people to people, the government to government connections India has with Singapore and vice versa, I think they are at its best. I would say a large part of it is driven by the people, contributions of the people in respective countries, and also I think the overall leadership thinking and orientation towards India versus Singapore. As we know, Singapore has been the largest FDI partner for India. India has been the largest contributor, or one of the largest contributors of manpower in very advanced areas such as semiconductors, fintech, oil and gas, and many other sectors, banking as well. So in a way, I think what we are very proud that the foundations of this strong people relationship has been there and has been nurtured very well. I think the communities are very warm. The expat communities are very well integrated with Singaporeans. They are very accustomed to the local cultures. And so in a way, it's an expanded family with expats also coming into Singapore. In terms of what we have seen in terms of changes, I think Singapore is, like I said earlier, has really zoomed up beyond imagination. We never imagined Singapore to be what it is today in the 1990s or in the 2000s. Be it infrastructure, be it facilities, be it airports, be it every single thing that you come across, including cultural aspects. I think Singapore has been at its best in these areas. So there's a lot of people comfort around it. There's a lot of satisfaction when you come back to Singapore and you're like, it's home, we're back.
Yes.
We miss the local food, we miss the local culture and the laws
Yeah.
that we always have.
Yeah.
And also, I think what is important is there is a constant regeneration of Singapore leadership and opening of more ideas to contributing to make this people to people and G to G relations between Singapore and India to take it to the next level. We have seen a lot of education participation going on at higher learning. Indian universities, Indian elite universities are now teaming up with Singapore universities in various areas. We have had hackathons being conducted. We also have school-to-school exchange programs happening between Singapore MOE schools and schools in India. We've also seen private and international school students going and doing community service in India in remote parts of the country. So we think that taking the Singapore and the India journey forward is going to be a big task, but also we need to find areas where we can collaborate together. If you remember, a couple of months back, there was a ecosystem for semiconductor promoted. They saw the ecosystem, how it can really frame up. In fact, India has a long history with semiconductors.
Yes.
India had sent engineers, and I know at least one of them who worked on the Pentium chip designs.
Wow.
A long time back when we used to be in Delhi. And so therefore, Indians have no strange relationship with semiconductors. But I think the manufacturing part was somehow left out of the steam, and now it's coming back. So we think that Singapore, India have a fantastic journey ahead. They have got enormously talented and capable leadership on both sides. They are all well intended to take the leadership, take it to the people level, to benefit the people, to benefit the businesses on both sides. And I think that is really important in this case.
You were born and raised in India, Maharashtra. So with all that learning in India and the finesse that we have in Singapore in the education system, how has your school combined the two things and created this phenomenal brand?
Yes, I think the way we saw opportunity was, every system has some very good best practices. And if you look at the West, they are known to be more holistic in nature. If you come to the UK side, it's pretty much the same British standards of pretty much academic orientation, whereas the Western countries tend to be a bit more liberal, a bit more holistic in they want to see your leadership qualities, they want to see your community aspirations, etc. And if you look at really the way East works, and given the big part of East is apart from ASEAN, the China and India, is that parents and families here are actually very driven towards academic outcomes, by and large, large proportions. And then there is always a small minority which is like, okay, fine, that's fine, but I also want to focus on my extracurriculars and co-curriculars.
Yes.
So what we found was it's better for us to create an education system that is the best of East and West.
Wonderful.
And we took up those points, we did our research, we used to visit the schools, we used to visit schools in almost every country, wherever we went, including whenever I go on a holiday, my eyes are on the schools nearby. What are they doing and what they are, so when I was in Finland, I managed to visit some schools during that vacation. I said, I would like to see what your schools are doing. And so they gave us a lot of ideas. So we took all these and created a best solution that worked for the West and the East.
You are a very proud son of India. You were just now, a while ago in January, given an award of Pravasi Bharatiya award. What did it mean to you, and do you see more awards like these coming? Is that your award, or Changing Lives is your award?
Firstly, I was absolutely pleasantly surprised by when the Indian High Commissioner in Singapore called me early morning and said, I've got news for you, I need to talk to you immediately. Somehow I was traveling in a country and it was like super early morning for me. But then I said there must be something really important. He conveyed the message and I thanked him. And actually I'm very thankful for the government of India, and especially who took this conscious call for recognizing and awarding me with a Pravasi Bharatiya Samman award. Pravasi Bharatiya is basically means a person of Indian origin resident abroad. And to give an award out of 26 million people to be recognized, and this award is actually very rare. It happens once in 2 years. It is only given to 26 people out of 26 million people. So almost a 1% to a million ratio. And I think that is super fulfilling for us. It's also very encouraging, very motivating to see that the journey that we are contributing to our communities, and not just to Indian communities, but to our overseas communities in the countries we stay and in the countries that we are able to serve for, it's actually very helpful to have the government of India take notice of that and be able to say, hey, we like what you guys are doing, do more of it.
I was very happy to see you wearing the award on the Republic Day of India. How do you collaborate with the Indian High Commission?
We do work very closely with the Indian High Commission in many spaces. I think because they are also effectively looking after a community that is also part of our community. So we do work with them on some ideation sometimes. For example, in 2015, when Prime Minister Modi came here, I had the pleasure and honor of seeding a lot of ideas how to make that a grand scale event, and I went ahead and made a lot of decisions on behalf of the High Commission, and they were really, really very happy to see the outcome of that. And in that, it was one of the most iconic community engagements that Prime Minister Modi had, with over 28,000 people in Singapore in the Indian Expo, Singapore Expo venue. And I understand very credibly from some sources that he said it was one of the best engagements he had in any other countries. So it was a great compliment to us. But we do work with the embassy on not just the nice aspects of the communities, but also sometimes when people need help, people are really stuck in some situations. So we do come and help out. I do remember there was a particular passenger who was stranded at the Changi airport, and the person had suffered a cardiac arrest, and he was at Changi General Hospital, and the person was in coma, and they just couldn't take him back because he had to be stretchered down in the aircrafts. So I worked with the embassy and the Air India and a couple of other agencies to get a smooth transition to take that affected person back, and actually we paid up Air India for the whole thing.
Wonderful.
So I think we have been looking to help and assist the embassy here and the High Commission to work towards the welfare of the people in whatever way we can, and to also help the High Commission to elevate the India-Singapore and Singapore-India relations in the other spaces. So we think it's a great honor, and we have had absolute pleasure working with them.
Wonderful. You also have the privilege of receiving some of the best luminaries we get from India. You had the External Affairs Minister giving a speech here. He spoke to you, and I think you were moderating the session. How have these experiences been, and how do you think they impact people and the branding of your school?
Yeah, I think Singapore, we are very fortunate. We have a lot of people transiting and visiting Singapore particularly. So yes, we do get a chance, particularly our students in Singapore get a lot of chances to interact with many of these dignitaries, luminaries, sometimes state leaders and public officials, as well as people from the business communities. And they get to learn a lot from their experiences and what they have had as a journey, and the learnings in their journey. So that's a great opportunity for us. But also I think looking at the engagement that we had with Foreign Minister Jaishankar. Jaishankar, we all know, has been Ambassador High Commissioner to Singapore in the late 2000. And during those 3 years, we had a lot of opportunities to work with him. But I think people really came to know about him when he took the step to become the public official and join the government service at a ministerial level. And when he was a foreign secretary, we used to meet him. Then he became the minister. And I think the engagement with him was rocking as ever. I think every engagement he has is rocking. He always comes up with some gems which just become viral in the media. But I think his clarity on the understanding of Singapore, China, ASEAN is very good. His understanding of geopolitics is very good. And I think that plays an important role in how he's able to advise and shape up Indian policies going forward.
You've been propagating this idea that you were born out of the idea of providing the best price point for a student. With your expansion, of course, everything takes money. How have you been able to manage that price point? And secondly, how did you get to fund these schools?
My journey prior to the schools was in IBM Singapore. And as part of the market understanding, it was very clear that within the community, there are different markets for different products. You have the super premium and the most expensive and exclusive products. And then in technology sense, it used to be the mainframes. And in a common man perspective, the most affordable used to be the PCs those days, personal computers. And what that gave me an idea is that even for education, the market is similar. There is a very clear segmentation for entry, midpoint schools, affordable schools, and then you have mid-price schools, and then there are schools which are like super expensive. They are like more like trophies, we call them, where people want to be there and brag about in the social circles. But also many of these schools are very good.
Sure.
So the idea it gave to me was, how about creating an education segment that is not really the top of the line in terms of pricing, but actually go for something which is mid-market. And if you look at a consumer segment, the mid-market is very huge. It comprises of 70 to 80% of the segment.
Sure.
And I think to choose a demographic within that segment was probably the best idea to go for.
In these years, you have produced a whole cohort of students which are perhaps from Indian origin or countries which are from somewhere else. Now, this is an alumni which could be a great resource to push forward India in the global arena also. What is your understanding of these students? What is the fabric of this new student you have created from your schools? From different streams, are they inclined towards India? Do they find themselves Singaporeans, Japanese? What is their identity? What has your school given them?
Yeah, interestingly, our schools combined, put together, including the new schools that came on board, there's a massive alumni of more than 200,000 students.
Wow, that's a big number.
And it's spread all over the world, not just in Asia or Middle East, it's across the world. And particularly what we have seen, students who have been alumni of these campuses in Singapore or the ASEAN markets in Japan, there has been, the Gen Zs and the alpha generations have been extremely looking towards modern era. They're looking towards innovation. They're looking towards the pastures that we call greener pastures,
yes.
right? Both in terms of opportunities. And obviously the West plays a big role in terms of these, as far as West offers a lot of higher education opportunities. So what we find the alumni to be is looking for those right opportunities that not only meet the aspirations of the parents, but also to some extent meet their own aspirations. And I think that mix is coming up very well. We can see students going into what used to be untraditional, say going and composing music, or being a sports person. We have one of our students who is under 19 in India in badminton. We have one of our students who even appeared for IPL auditions.
Wow.
In cricket. We have some students who are doing very well in tennis, in soccer. Almost majority of the players in Singapore cricket scene actually come from our school. So in a way, we find that the parents are now encouraging them. I would say almost all of them have been to the places of their choice, have been to universities of their choice. And also, I think they're keeping their parents happy and proud to be able to achieve so much, given their parents also more or less came from very simple and frugal conditions. And but when they see their children do very well across the world in some of the latest frontiers, such as SpaceX and Tesla and Google and IBM and Apple, it is really fulfilling for us that the choice of education and the frameworks that we put in actually has been very helpful to them in their journey.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And it is my belief education is the greatest leveler on earth. Whether we see biases, prejudices for your color or for your gender, and you've done a phenomenal job in giving this equal level playing field. And you've done well as a son of India and a son of Singapore. So I think we are very honored to celebrate your success, celebrate partnership between Singapore and India, and to another 60 years of you creating generations of leaders through your school. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ramita. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Masai.